Hi, I'm Kathy Kiley, president of the Ad Club here in Boston. Thank you for joining us again on the Big Orange Couch. So today we're going to be talking about social media, and today it's hard to imagine life without social media. You think about Facebook, you think about Twitter, you think about LinkedIn. Well, there's a whole new version of social media, and that is Foursquare. And here, joining me on the Big Orange Couch today is Dennis Crowley, co-founder, I should say, of Foursquare. Thank you for joining us on the Big Orange Couch today.
Thank you for having me on your Big Orange Couch.
So, Dennis, this new concept of Foursquare, where you check in wherever you go, everyone knows where you are, I hate that. I hate that.
I don't think it's too dissimilar from things like Twitter. And I think over time people learn that, sharing little bits of information about your life, like what you're eating for breakfast or what you're doing tonight or what movies you've been watching or what books you've been reading is interesting. And I think, Twitter has taught a lot of people about that. The thing that's different with Foursquare is the location sharing. It just gets a little bit, it's a little bit more specific. And so when people check in, I don't think it's it doesn't mean come down and meet me immediately, but it's more about sharing the places that you go to, like the places that you enjoy hanging out, whether they're parks or bars or restaurants, and sharing those with other people so that other people can kind of live vicariously through some of your experiences.
And has it changed sort of the social dynamic of nightlife?
So the stuff was originally designed just to help, facilitate meetups after work. So why hang out with, one group of 3 friends when you can hang out with, 3 groups of 3 friends? And so the idea was if you can just, anytime you go somewhere, you broadcast your location, and hopefully people end up showing up and make that night a little bit more interesting.
So Dennis, for instance, if I go to a restaurant and I check in, do I then get feedback from other people who have already been to that restaurant?
Sure. So we find that a lot of Foursquare users leave tips for other users. So if you're if you have a favorite restaurant, a favorite dish there, or you have like some advice on what you should do afterwards, or maybe you want to leave a tip about what to get at your favorite bar, people leave those little nuggets of content around, and then when people check in, they discover those. So it's not uncommon to go to a restaurant, and then before the waitress comes over and takes your order, you already know what to get because Foursquare recommended something to you.
How does Foursquare relate to clients and brands? How is that growing as Foursquare grows?
Yeah, so a lot of the stuff we're making it up as we go. And so Foursquare was initially developed just to help, our friends coordinate, so where people are, maybe the types of places that they go. And then we started seeing venues getting involved, like leaving, having different specials. If you're the mayor of this place, then you're entitled to free soda, or if you've been here 5 times, you're entitled to this other free giveaway. And then we're seeing brands do the same thing. So brands will be, like a couple of the brands we've worked with, Marc Jacobs and Lucky Magazine around Fashion Week. We've done some stuff with Bravo TV and MTV. We're doing some stuff with Starbucks. It's for a lot of these folks, it's about taking some content that they have and scattering it all around the country and all around the world, so that when people check into places, they don't always have to, get tips about bars and restaurants. They can be little nuggets of history from the History Channel. It can be information about what happened on this season of Top Chef, courtesy of Bravo. And in the case of what we're doing with Starbucks, like we've created a badge for them that encourages people to, go and seek out different Starbucks. And so if they check in there X amount of times, they unlock that badge.
So let's back up and just describe what being the mayor of something means.
Yeah, so with Foursquare, we ask users to check into places. And that's really, it's bars and restaurants and coffee shops and parks and museums. And we have this mechanic called the mayor, and if you've been to a place more than anyone else in the last 60 days, then you become the mayor. And it's just a title. It doesn't really mean anything. And we didn't anticipate it meaning too much, but it was the venues that came along and said, oh, well, we're going to treat the mayor differently. We're going to give them something special in return.
Will it ever become a situation where the more you frequent someplace, there's some monetary gain for you in it?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of that right now, where there's a lot of venues that are looking at Foursquare as a way to either start or replace an existing loyalty program. And so I think we've got something almost like 2,000 venues across the world that are doing this. So if you check into this coffee place more than anyone else, which is, you become the mayor, then you're entitled to something free. If you've been here 5 times, then you're entitled to a discount.
And you're tracking that. Foursquare is tracking that?
Yeah, we collect a lot of that information too, and we're giving it back to the venue owners. So our philosophy is if these venues are going to give our users, free hot dogs and free beers and free coffee, then, we'll give them some insight into some of the data. Like we'll show them male-female, ratio breakdown. We'll give them some data on how many of the check-ins are actually going out to Twitter and Facebook, and then show them, who are their best customers and potentially who could be their best customers.
So, internationally, is this catching on?
Yeah, it's
outside?
the whole thing is growing much quicker than we ever thought it was going to.
You ready?
Yeah, I know, right? Not really. So we'll be 1 million users in a couple weeks, and we just ran the international numbers the other day, and it's about 60% U.S. and 40% international, which is much larger than we thought. Tokyo is quickly becoming one of our fastest growing cities, and the subway station there, the main transit hub, Shibuya Crossing, it's always swarming. It's 24 hours a day, there's always 50 people there, which is very strange.
I think when people watch this video and then they hear about you, I think everyone loves to know, how did you think of this? Like, what were the origins of this?
We're just trying to build things that we want to use and that our friends want to use. And so this started, years ago with my first project, which was Dodgeball. Like, all my friends were laid off around the same time after the dot-com heydays, and it's like, let's build something that enables us to know where everyone is, so we can, just meet up during the day and hang out at parks and hang out at restaurants. And it's just building those things, and it turns out if you build them just the right way, it turns out other people want to use them.
And what happened with Dodgeball?
We sold it to Google back in 2005, and we were there for 2 years trying to make it work. But I think it was just a little bit too early.
Yep.
And I think we needed things like, I know. I think you need things like Twitter and Facebook to come along and to really teach the masses about, hey, it's good to share location. It's good to share information about what you're doing.
Sure. Well, that's exciting.
Yeah, it's been pretty fun so far. We're only a year old, and now we're 16 people. We're about 1 million users, and we're growing pretty quick. So it's been a lot of fun.
And you're here at Microsoft. You're about to speak to the ad club community.
Yeah.
And you have a record number of people showing up for this today. So
yeah, that's pretty exciting too.
Yeah, everyone's really interested in it.
Yeah, I've gotten lots of people have been emailing me all day on Twitter with like, talk about this, and I have some questions for you, and want to meet you afterwards. So it's all pretty exciting.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us on the Big Orange Couch.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and thank you for coming to the Red Sox game last night.
Well, thanks again for the tickets. That was a lot of fun.
And thank you for joining us again on the Big Orange Couch.